We good? Or a nod? Okay, okay, Mike?
When I'm at the graphic screen, I can't get it to where when I type the numbers in, it just brings me back to the home screen.
Graph. Oh, trace. It's got to be on trace. And then hit up or down, and then you're on the line. Okay, so that vertical distance is 31.3 units. When the value is below the line, is that an over approximation or an under approximation? Over. Remember, it works kind of counterintuitively. When the residual is negative, it means that the point is sitting under the regression line. If the regression line, so here's our point, this is our observed y, here is our predicted y. So the prediction is over, it's an overestimate of that y value. You with me? You with me? Okay? So we're talking vertically. Okay? Okay, so that's an overestimation. Let's write it. This is an overestimation. Okay? Let's see, what do we want to do next? Now, do you agree that this data was collected within a certain range? Remember how we discussed that the y-intercept didn't make any sense in this context? Do you remember that? Why didn't it make any sense?
Because you can't count 0 there.
Yeah, good, Emma. Yeah, because you're not going to get a bear with 0 length. What was it? When the x is 0, right? So that's bear length. Yeah. You can't have a bear with 0 length. So that the y-intercept, although it is part of the line, that part of the plane does not make any sense with respect to our what do I want to say? Our example. So when you try to do estimation outside of the area of where your data is collected, it's called extrapolation. You extrapolate beyond the data that you've observed. It's not a good thing in regression. And the further out you try to go, the worse your estimation is going to be, okay? If you're like barely off of the screen, no, not so bad. But for example, let's say I'm on my line and I'm going to try to estimate the weight of a bear that's 200 centimeters long. Well, at some point, that bear doesn't exist, right? Bears don't just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So if I try to estimate, say, at a bear that's 200 centimeters, notice it gives me an error message, because it's saying, what, are you crazy? You can't just go way out to these extremes and have your model work. It doesn't work that way, okay? Just like a bear with 0 length doesn't make sense. In this case, a bear with length, what did I try? 200 centimeters doesn't make sense either. You guys with me? So extrapolation is when you try to estimate outside the bounds of your observed data. Okay, your estimation purpose is only within those bounds. Okay. And again, we don't go there. Okay, we also last time looked at how to get our sum of the squared residuals. Okay, let's make a few notes. So let's write extrapolation. Don't go there. Don't do it. And in some cases, in some estimations or some contexts, extrapolation is okay. But in linear regression, it's not okay. To get the sum of the squared residuals, okay, what's the first thing that has to happen? You remember? Anybody remember? Do you remember what we had to have first for the calculator to store the residuals? Want me to refresh your memory? Okay. We have to have run a regression. When you do this, the last regression that was run, is that correct? The calculator will store the residuals for this calculation. We just have to go get them, square them, and add them up. Okay? So to do that, second stat, and then on that menu somewhere you're going to find resid. Take that to your home screen, and if you want, there they are. You'll see that some of them are positive and some of them are negative. I'm just using my right and left arrow.
Can you repeat that process again?
Second stat, and then your residuals are going to be on that list somewhere. You bring those to your home screen. Some of them are negative and some of them are positive because some of the points are above the line and some of the points are below the line, right? You with me? Okay? So once you have the residuals, you want to square them. You just hit the square button on your keyboard. You could square them back here too. Just square them after the resid. Okay, and there's my answer. I squared it. So there's my squared residuals, because you want to make them like distances. Okay, and then you want to add them up. So to do that, you go second stat again, and two right-hand arrows. Second stat, right. And in that menu is a sum function. It might be somewhere else on the calculator too, but this is the only place I found it. You could also find it in your catalog, I'm sure.
I brought residual back into my home screen, but I don't have the numbers underneath it.
Oh, really? If you hit enter? Really?
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay. Okay. So we want to do sum, and then if you go sum the answer, okay, there's my residuals. There I squared them, and now I'm adding them up. You can also do it in all one step. So there's the sum of our squared residuals, 4350.4. Say again? Say again? Questions? Are you guys finding what you need? This room is warm, isn't it? Do you find what you need? Okay, so what you can do also, gang, is you can go get the sum function, sum, go get the residuals, sum the residuals squared. You can do it all in one step, but watch out for your order of operations. Okay? Same thing.
So how do you get this sum?
Sum is second stat and two rights, and you'll see it on that menu. Yeah, there you go. And then to get answer, if you want to bring answer in, you go second negative sign. And it'll take the answer, meaning whatever is previous in the calculator, and it'll shove it in there. Okay, residuals, summing them, extrapolation. I think there's only one more thing we want to do. We did some estimating too, right? We estimated the weight of a bear of a certain length, right? We said if a bear was, what did we put in here? It was somewhere, I think it was 160. If a bear was 160 centimeters, he weighs about 128.6 pounds. Okay, so there's your estimation. You'd use your line. You could also write down the equation of the line, take that requested length, right? We want to estimate the corresponding weight and put this in the regression equation for x. Okay? Which is what you're doing when you use the calculator. Okay, and the last thing we want to do is talk about the R² value. So you see that back on your home screen with your output. Whoops.
That was just getting the sum of all the residuals?
Yes, yes, and you'll be asked to do that in your homework and
How
stuff.
do you get like a specific one?
That was when we did the observed minus predicted.
Okay.
And it has to tell you at which point it wants that specific residual.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'll give you a specific data point.
So the observed is the actual marking, the predicted is what it lines
It comes
up
from
with
that ordered pair, and the predicted comes from the line.
the line.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you see that you also get this number called R² in your output. And R² is indeed the square of R. And it also has a really nice meaning in regression, and that is, let's start out with this concept. Let's say